In Spring Boot GraphQL, there's a class called the DataFetchingEnvironment. And if you specify this as the last parameter in your resolvers, then the framework will automatically inject this in and give you access to it. And if you don't have any parameters, you can specify this as the only one on the resolver. Now what this contains is a lot of really key methods and allows you to get access to some really cool functionality. So for example, you can get access to the selection set. So this is the set of fields that were actually requested by the user. So you can imagine this is really good, because if you can get the actual fields they've requested, then you can go ahead and maybe transform this into your SQL query. So you only select the fields that they want, or if you have a web service and if the user only wants 2 fields, you can send them 2 fields directly over to really optimize performance. Or perhaps, depending on what fields are present, you have to perform a different operation. So I'll go into detail in another video on that. You get access to the context. The context will be created once on the query, and it'll always stay the same and be propagated throughout all of your resolvers. So you can imagine this can be one technique you can use this for is put in some auth data. So if you do authorization upfront once, then you can set that in the context, and every method you call will have that object. You can check the variables in here. So get variables. So if the user submits variables in their query, you can get access to them. You can get the arguments. So that's the arguments they pass in as the input arguments or filter arguments, which is really nice. Also, you get access to data loaders, which I will have a full video on, which are used to solve the n+1 problem, and lots of other key pieces of information. Now, if we come back to the Java docs, you can come and have a wee look and see everything that's available and a bit more about it. You can read what actually it does and how you can really use this and how you can optimize your query. If you want, you can look at the full Java doc here, or GitHub or the Java doc. And then inside chapter 11, data fetching, then on the GraphQL Java website, you'll find a lot more key pieces of information. So I'm going to go ahead and debug this and actually show you it in real time. So if I debug the server, and I'll create a bank account. You'll see here, when I look at the data fetching environment, you'll see all of the key pieces of information here. So if I was to write e.getSelectionSet, and then I could say if it contains any of, or contains all of, I'm going to say if it contains ID, which it does, because in here I've passed an ID. And if it contains IDS, which it does not, you can see. So this can be used to make smart query choices or smart choices on your actual data operations. Here there's the execution ID, which can be useful to like log. So if you can maybe set that on your like MDC and have that printed on every log, so you can easily trace a query and what it's actually doing. Also, you can send that potentially to downstream systems, or they could give you one back with your ID, and you could do some kind of correlation ID logging with this. This is really nice. And here's the arguments. So the input argument I created, the first name was the GraphQL user, as you can see, first name GraphQL user. And Spring Boot has automatically transformed this into my create bank account type, but you can get access to the raw types here. So I just wanted to explain what that was, and hopefully you guys can have a play about and see the importance of this in the future. And I will see you in the next episode, where I will go over the selection set in more detail.